Nathan Carter's fingers tightened around his coffee mug as he stared out the floor-to-ceiling windows of his 20th floor office. The cityscape of Springfield sprawling below. The glowing sign of Carter's QuickBite, his fast food empire, blinked. In the distance, a beacon of success that felt increasingly hollow. At 38, Nathan was the CEO of a thriving chain 10 stores. Steady profits, a loyal customer base, but the complaints piling up on his desk told a different story. Slow service, rude employees, wrong orders. Something was rotting at the core of what he built, and the realization gnawed at him like a bad tooth. Tonight, he decided, he'd find out what. 15 years ago, Nathan had been a nobody flipping burgers at a greasy diner to pay for college. He dreamed of a place where hard work was rewarded, where every customer felt valued, no matter their wallet or clothes. That dream became QuickBite, a chain known for its crispy fries and friendly vibe. But success had pulled him away board meetings, financial reports, expansion plans. He hadn't stepped into a store in over a year, relying on managers and his operations director, Megan Harper, to keep things running. Now, the online reviews were a wake-up call. One stung hardest. A single mother wrote, "Staff laughed when I complained about my wrong order. Never coming back." Nathan's jaw clenched. That wasn't his QuickBite thought. He opened his laptop, scrolling through more complaints. Cashier ignored me. Waited 20 minutes for a burger. Manager yelled at a kid in front of everyone. The words blurred together, each a jab at his pride. Nathan had promised himself he'd never let his company become one of those soulless chains, but here he was, blind to the reality on the ground. He slammed the laptop shut, his decision made. He'd go undercover, see the truth for himself. No suit, no title, just a customer blending in. "Megan," he called, buzzing his operations director. She appeared, her sharp blazer a contrast to his rumpled button-up. "I'm taking a step back," he said, his voice firm. "I need to see what's happening in the stores." Up close, Megan's brow furrowed. "Undercover?" "Nothing, you're the CEO. Let me send a team to investigate." "No," he said, shaking his head. "I built this from nothing. If it's broken, I need to feel it myself." A memory flashed Nathan at 20, mopping floors after midnight, vowing to create a place where people like him mattered. He wouldn't let that kid down. Megan sighed, but nodded. "Which store?" "The one on Maple Street," Nathan said. It was the chain's busiest, with the most complaints. If the rot was anywhere, it'd be there. He stood, his coffee cold in his hand. The city lights glittered, but his eyes were on that distant QuickBite sign. Something was off, and he was about to walk into the storm to find it. As he grabbed his coat, a flicker of unease mixed with resolve. Whatever he discovered, it would change everything. The Maple Street QuickBite buzzed with late-afternoon chaos, the air thick with the scent of fried chicken and sizzling fries. Nathan Carter tugged his baseball cap lower, his fake beard itching under the hoodie that hid his CEO polish. He looked nothing like the man in corporate headshots, clean-shaven, suit crisp. Today, he was just another guy grabbing a burger, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and dread. The glowing menu board loomed above, but it was the energy inside that set him on edge, a restless, frayed vibe, like a machine running on fumes. He joined the line, eyes scanning the counter. A young woman, her name tag reading Sofia Alvarez, worked the register, her movements quick but her eyes heavy with fatigue. She was in her mid-20s, dark hair pulled into a tight ponytail, her QuickBite polo wrinkled from a long shift. "Welcome," she muttered, barely glancing at Nathan. "What can I get you?" "Number 3 combo, extra sauce," Nathan said, keeping his tone casual. He handed her a 10, watching her punch the order with practiced efficiency. But before she could return his change, a voice boomed from the kitchen. "Sophia, move it! You're slower than molasses in January." Nathan's head snapped toward the sound. A man in his mid-30s, broad-shouldered, and wearing a manager's badge, glared at Sophia from the fry station. His name tag read Derek Lawson, and his arrogance radiated like heat. Sophia's cheeks flushed, her hands fumbling with the cash drawer. "Sorry," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Sorry doesn't cut it." Derek barked, loud enough for the dining area to hear. "You're lucky I haven't canned you yet." Customers glanced over, some uncomfortable, others indifferent. Sophia handed Nathan his change, her fingers trembling, avoiding his eyes. "You okay?" Nathan asked quietly, his stomach tightening. Sophia nodded, a reflex, and hurried to bag another order. Nathan stepped aside, his meal forgotten as he watched Derek saunter to the counter, forcing a grin. "Sorry about the wait, buddy," Derek said to Nathan, his tone oily. "Good help's hard to find, you know." Nathan raised an eyebrow, unsure how to respond. Derek leaned in, lowering his voice. "Between you and me, Sophia's a quota-hire corporate's diversity nonsense. Can't fire her, though. Numbers gotta look good." He rolled his eyes, slapping the counter. Nathan's heart dropped, the casual cruelty hitting like a punch. Sophia wasn't just being berated, she was a pawn in Derek's biases, dismissed as a statistic. He kept his voice steady, though it took effort. "Isn't it your job to train her if she's struggling?" Derek snorted. "Train her? I don't have time to babysit. Enjoy your food." He walked off, leaving Nathan seething. He sat at a corner table, his burger untouched, eyes locked on Sophia. She moved with quiet determination, wiping counters, refilling napkins, ignoring the sting of Derek's words. The injustice of it burned. Nathan had built QuickBite to be better than this, but here was the truth, raw and ugly. He pulled out his phone, typing a note, Maple Street. Derek Lawson. Toxic. The storm he'd sensed was real, and he was standing in the eye of it. Nathan lingered in the QuickBite dining area, the fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows across the tiled floor. His tray sat half-eaten, the fries cold as he watched the store's rhythm or lack of it. Sophia Alvarez darted between tasks, cleaning tables, running orders, and manning the register while other employees chatted by the soda machine, oblivious to the growing line. Customers shifted impatiently, some muttering, others checking their phones. The chaos wasn't just poor management, it was a culture of neglect, and Nathan's anger grew with every minute. A teenage employee, his name tag reading Lucas Bennett, struggled to restock cups, his face red from exertion. Derek Lawson's voice cut through the noise again. "Sophia, you blind? Table 5's a mess." Sophia, already juggling 3 tasks, nodded and grabbed a rag, her shoulders slumping. Then came the final straw. Sophia, rushing with a tray of drinks, tripped, sending cups crashing to the floor. The dining area fell silent, all eyes on her. Derek stormed over, his face twisted with contempt. "Are you completely useless?" He yelled, loud enough to make a child at a nearby table flinch. "That's coming out of your check, Sophia. Clean it up." Sophia's eyes glistened, but she knelt, picking up the mess without a word. Nathan's fists clenched under the table, his pulse pounding. He wanted to stand, to call Derek out, but he forced himself to stay seated. He needed more than an outburst. He needed evidence. A plan. As Sophia cleaned, a customer, an older woman with a kind face, leaned over. "Don't let him get to you, dear," she said softly. Sophia managed a weak smile, but her hands shook. Nathan's gaze shifted to Lucas, who'd frozen near the counter, his eyes darting nervously. The kid looked no older than 16, his QuickBite hat too big for his head. Nathan made a mental note. Derek's abuse wasn't just targeting Sophia. This was systemic. He stayed another hour, observing. Sophia handled a rude customer with grace, apologizing for a delayed order that wasn't her fault. Lucas hustled to keep up, but his movements were tense, as if expecting another tirade. The other staff, meanwhile, slacked off, emboldened by Derek's indifference. Nathan's notes grew. Sophia overworked, dedicated. Lucas scared, young. Derek abusive, unchecked. As he stood to leave, he spotted something in the trash, a crumpled schedule with Sophia's name, showing back-to-back shifts, some 12 hours long. His stomach twisted. This wasn't just a bad day. It was a deliberate grind. Outside, the neon QuickBite sign glowed against the dusk, a mockery of Nathan's vision. He climbed into his car, the weight of what he'd seen pressing down. Derek wasn't the only problem. This store was a symptom of something bigger, a culture he'd let slip through his fingers. He pulled out his phone, texting Megan. Maple Street's a mess. I'm going back tomorrow. Different disguise. He needed to talk to Sophia, to Lucas, to understand how deep the rot went. As he drove away, the image of Sophia's tear-filled eyes burned in his mind. He'd built this company to lift people up, not tear them down. Tomorrow, he'd dig deeper, and whatever he found, he'd face it head-on. The storm was here, and Nathan Carter was ready to walk through it. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the Maple Street QuickBite's parking lot as Nathan Carter pulled up, his heart pounding beneath the borrowed delivery driver's uniform. The branded cap and thermal bag completed his disguise, transforming the CEO into an invisible cog in the fast food machine. Yesterday's visit as a customer had shaken him. Derek Lawson's cruelty, Sophia Alvarez's humiliation, the toxic air choking the store. But one day's observations weren't enough. Nathan needed to see the underbelly to understand how deep the rot ran. Tugging a notepad into his pocket, he stepped inside, the familiar smell of fries and grease hitting him like a wave. The store was a storm of activity. Orders barked, timers beeping, customers crowding the counter. Nathan's eyes found Sophia, her face drawn as she juggled the register and a mop, her QuickBite polo damp with sweat. But his attention shifted to a teenage employee, Lucas Bennett, struggling to haul a heavy box of frozen patties from the delivery hatch. The kid's skinny frame buckled under the weight, his face flushed with effort. "Come on, Lucas, you a toddler?" Derek's voice boomed from the kitchen, his manager's badge glinting under the fluorescence. "Use your legs or I'll find someone who can." Lucas mumbled an apology, nearly dropping the box. Nathan's jaw tightened. He set his thermal bag on a counter and approached. "Need a hand, kid?" he asked, keeping his tone casual. Lucas glanced up, startled. Yeah, thanks." Together, they moved the box to the freezer, Lucas panting. "Is he always like that?" Nathan nodded toward Derek, who was now joking with another employee. Ignoring a growing line, Lucas hesitated, his eyes darting to Derek. "Pretty much. Worse when it's busy. I need the job, so I just deal." His voice was barely a whisper, laced with resignation. Nathan's chest tightened. Lucas reminded him of himself at 16, scraping by, swallowing pride to survive. As Nathan delivered a fake order, he watched the chaos unfold. Customers grumbled at a 15-minute wait, one storming out and typing furiously on their phone, likely another bad review. He overheard Derek muttering to a crony, "Fudge the sales numbers for corporate. They'll eat it up." The casual corruption hit Nathan like a slap. This wasn't just bad management. It was a betrayal of everything QuickBite stood for. He scribbled a note. Derek manipulating reports? The storm was bigger than he'd thought, and he was only scratching the surface. The dinner rush had slowed, leaving QuickBite in a brief lull. Nathan, still posing as a delivery driver, lingered near the back, restocking napkins to blend in. His eyes followed Sophia Alvarez as she sorted condiment packets, her movements mechanical. but precise. Yesterday, he'd seen her resilience under Derek's abuse. Today, he needed to understand her, to know why she stayed in this grinder. He approached, keeping his voice low. "Hey, Sophia, right? I was here yesterday. Saw how Derek treated you." Sophia's head snapped up, her dark eyes wary. "Yeah, that's me. Can I help you?" She glanced at the door, as if expecting Derek to storm in. "I'm just checking in," Nathan said, softening his tone. "Has he always been like that?" He nodded toward the kitchen, where Derek was scrolling his phone, ignoring a spilled soda on the counter. Sophia's shoulders tensed, her fingers pausing over the ketchup packets. "Look, I don't want trouble. I do my job. Keep my head down." Her voice was guarded, but a flicker of exhaustion betrayed her. "You shouldn't have to work like this," Nathan pressed, his sincerity breaking through. "Nobody should." Sophia sighed, her guard lowering slightly. "It's not just me. He's hard on everyone, Lucas, the new girls. We need the hours, so we don't say anything." She hesitated, then added, "I'm here for my mom. She's sick, can't work. This job's all we've got." Her voice cracked, and she looked away, stacking packets faster. Nathan's throat tightened. He saw his younger self and Sophia working late shifts, carrying a family's weight. "You're doing more than most could," he said. "I promise. Things are going to change." Sophia's eyes met his, skeptical but curious. "You're not just a driver, are you?" Before he could answer, Derek's voice cut through. "Sophia, counter's a mess. Move it." She flinched, hurrying off, leaving Nathan with a burning resolve. Later, in the break room, Nathan found a crumpled employee complaint form, half-filled, never submitted. It listed Derek's insults, unfair schedules, favoritism. The handwriting looked like Sophia's, but fear had stopped her from sending it. His notes grew. Staff silenced, complaints buried. As he left, he overheard Derek on a call, laughing. "Carter's clueless. Keep the numbers pretty, and we're golden." Nathan's blood ran cold. Derek's ally, another manager, was part of this, spreading rot across the chain. He needed to act, but first, he needed a plan. Nathan sat in his car outside QuickBite, the neon sign flickering against the night sky. His legal pad was filled with notes. Derek's abuse, falsified reports, silent staff, Sophia's struggle, Lucas' fear. The Maple Street store was a microcosm of failure, a betrayal of the dream he'd built from a diner's greasy floors. But the problem wasn't just one store. Derek's call hinted at a network of complacency, maybe corruption, stretching across Carter's QuickBite. Nathan's hands gripped the steering wheel, his mind racing. He couldn't fix this as a driver or a customer. It was time to step out of the shadows. He texted Megan Harper, his operations director. "Meet me at the office. Urgent." An hour later, they sat in his dimly lit office. The city skyline a stark contrast to the mess he'd uncovered. Megan's sharp blazer couldn't hide her shock as Nathan recounted his findings. Derek's cruelty, Sophia's overwork, the fudged numbers. "How did we miss this?" she asked, her voice tight. "We stopped looking," Nathan said, his tone heavy. "I let layers of reports and managers blind me. That's on me. But now we fix it." He outlined his plan. Confront Derek, fire him, promote Sophia to interim manager, and investigate other stores. Megan hesitated, warning of pushback from other managers. But Nathan was resolute. As Megan left, Nathan's phone buzzed an anonymous text from an employee number. "Help us. Maple Street's a nightmare." His resolve hardened. The text was a plea, proof that staff wanted change but feared speaking out. He added it to his notes, alongside a new concern. Derek's ally, possibly a manager named Ryan Mitchell, mentioned. In a staff whisper as Derek's corporate buddy. If Ryan was sabotaging reforms, Nathan needed to move fast. Back home, Nathan stood in his kitchen, staring at an old photo on the fridge him at 20, in a diner apron, grinning despite the grease stains. He'd promised that kid he'd build something better. Tomorrow, he'd walk into QuickBite as Nathan Carter, CEO, and start keeping that promise. But as he lay awake, doubt crept in. Could he fix an entire company? The storm was growing, and he was about to dive in headfirst. For Sophia, for Lucas, for the dream he'd nearly lost, he had no choice. The morning sun glinted off the Maple Street QuickBite's neon sign as Nathan Carter stepped through the door, his tailored suit a stark contrast to the jeans and hoodie of his undercover visits. The air inside buzzed with the usual chaos sizzling. Fryers, ringing timers, and the hum of early customers. But Nathan's pulse thrummed with purpose. Yesterday, he'd seen enough. Derek Lawson's abuse, Sophia Alvarez's resilience, Lucas Bennett's fear, and hints of a broader rot tide. Derek's ally, Ryan Mitchell. Today, he wasn't a customer or a driver. He was the CEO, and he was here to take back his company. The dining area was half full, the scent of coffee and bacon thick in the air. Sophia worked the register, her eyes heavy but focused, while Lucas hustled to clear tables. Derek lounged near the soda machine, scrolling his phone, oblivious to a spilled drink on the counter. Nathan approached the counter, his voice calm but firm. "I need to speak with the manager." Sophia glanced up, startled, then nodded. "I'll get him." She disappeared into the kitchen, returning with Derek, who sauntered over, his badge glinting, his expression annoyed. "Can I help you?" Derek asked, puffing out his chest. Nathan extended a hand, his gaze unwavering. "Nathan Carter, CEO of Carter's QuickBite." Derek's face paled, his hand freezing midair. A customer nearby gasped, and Lucas paused, his rag dangling. Nathan didn't flinch. "Let's talk in the office." The cramped office smelled of stale fries and ink, papers strewn across a cluttered desk. Nathan closed the door, his voice low and sharp. "I've been here all week, undercover. I saw how you treat your team, Sophia, Lucas, everyone. Public humiliation, bias, falsified reports. It's unacceptable." Derek stammered, his bravado crumbling. I was keeping things running." "You know how hard it is to find good workers. Stop." Nathan cut in, his eyes blazing. "You've disrespected this company and its people. You're terminated, effective immediately." Derek's mouth opened, then closed, his face flushing red. He grabbed his jacket and stormed out, muttering curses. Nathan heard whispers outside staff had overheard, their voices a mix of shock and relief. As Nathan stepped out, a regular customer, an older man who'd witnessed Derek's outbursts, clapped softly. "About time," he said, drawing nods from others. But Nathan's eyes caught a flicker of movement. A staff member, one of Derek's cronies, slipped out the back, phone in hand. Nathan's gut twisted. Ryan Mitchell, Derek's ally, would hear of this soon, and trouble was brewing. For now, though, the store was his to reclaim. He straightened his tie, ready to face the team. The storm was far from over, but Nathan had just struck the first blow. The QuickBite dining area was a frozen tableau, staff and customers staring as Derek's exit left a void. Nathan stood at the counter, his suit commanding attention, the weight of his decisions settling in. Sophia Alvarez hovered near the register, her hands clasped tightly, while Lucas Bennett lingered by a table, his eyes wide. The other employees, some loyal to Derek, others just confused, whispered among themselves. Nathan knew this moment was pivotal. He'd fired the problem. Now he had to plant the solution. He raised a hand, silencing the murmurs. "Everyone, gather round," he called, his voice steady but warm. The staff shuffled forward, Sophia and Lucas at the front, a mix of hope and skepticism in their eyes. "I'm Nathan Carter, your CEO," he began. "This week, I went undercover as a customer and a driver. What I saw here broke my heart. This company was built on respect for customers, for you. That's been lost, but it stops today." A murmur rippled through the group. Nathan's gaze settled on Sophia, her tired eyes meeting his. "Sophia Alvarez," he said, "you've shown dedication and heart, even under pressure. Effective immediately, you're interim manager, with a pay raise to match." Sophia's jaw dropped, her hand flying to her mouth. Lucas grinned, clapping, and a few others joined in, though some staff exchanged wary glances. "Me?" Sophia whispered, her voice trembling. "I've never managed anything." "You've managed more than you know," Nathan said, smiling. "You've kept this place running despite everything. Show them what leadership looks like." Sophia nodded, tears glistening, and the applause grew louder. Nathan continued, addressing the team. "Changes are coming: training, better schedules, a voice for all of you. If anyone feels mistreated, my door is open." As the staff dispersed, Nathan pulled Sophia aside. "You're ready for this," he said, "but it won't be easy. Some won't like the change." He nodded toward a stocky employee, one of Derek's friends, who was texting furiously, his scowl unmistakable. "I won't let you down," Sophia said, her voice steadier now. She hesitated, then added, "My mom, she'll be so proud." The mention of her sick mother hit Nathan hard, reminding him of his own sacrifices years ago. Before he left, Nathan overheard a customer, a single mother with a toddler, tell Sophia, "You're gonna do great, honey." The support buoyed Nathan's resolve, but as he stepped outside, his phone buzzed. A text from Megan Harper. "Heard about Derek. Ryan Mitchell's already stirring trouble. Be careful." Nathan's jaw tightened. Ryan, Derek's ally, was moving fast. The fight for QuickBite's soul had just begun, and Sophia's first test was looming. The next day, QuickBite felt different. The air lighter but tinged with unease. Sophia Alvarez, now in a manager's badge, directed the morning shift with cautious confidence, her voice clear as she assigned tasks. Nathan, back in a suit, visited, unannounced, observing from a corner booth. The counter was cleaner, Lucas moved with less fear, and customers smiled more. But cracks were already showing. A fake online complaint surfaced, blaming Sophia for ruining the store and Derek's firing. The anonymous post reeked of Ryan Mitchell's influence, and Nathan's gut churned. Sophia approached his booth, her face tense. "Mr. Carter, some of the team, they're not listening. They think I got Derek fired." She nodded toward the stocky employee, Mike, who ignored her orders, wiping tables with exaggerated slowness. Nathan leaned forward, keeping his voice low. "They'll test you, Sophia. Show them you're in charge, but don't lose who you are." He handed her a folder. "These are new policies, mandatory training, fair schedules, an anonymous feedback app. Roll them out today. It'll set the tone." Sophia nodded, clutching the folder like a lifeline. At the pre-lunch meeting, she announced the changes, her voice growing firmer. "We're doing things right now," she said. "Every customer, every order matters. If you're not on board, talk to me or leave." Lucas clapped, and a few others nodded, but Mike scoffed, storming to the break room. Nathan watched, noting the divide. Sophia was rising, but Derek's shadow lingered. Later, Nathan found a note slipped under his car wiper. "Watch your back. Carter." The handwriting was unfamiliar, but Ryan's name flashed in his mind. He called Megan, briefing her on the complaint and the note. "Ryan's rallying Derek's allies," he said. "We need to audit every store, fast." Megan agreed, but her voice was strained. "This could get messy, Nathan." "Are you sure about Sophia?" "She's the real deal," Nathan said, glancing at the diner. Inside, Sophia was helping Lucas with a rush order, her smile genuine. As Nathan drove away, He found a crumpled note in his pocket. Lucas had slipped it to him earlier. "Thanks for giving Sophia a chance. She's why I'm still here." Nathan's resolve hardened. Sophia was the spark. But Ryan's shadow loomed. The reckoning was just beginning, and Nathan was ready to fight for his company's soul. The fluorescent glow of Nathan Carter's office cast stark shadows across his desk, where reports from Carter's QuickBite stores lay scattered like battle plans. 2 weeks after firing Derek Lawson, Nathan was neck-deep in reform. His suit, jacket slung over a chair, coffee cold in his mug. The Maple Street store was stabilizing under Sofia Alvarez's interim management. But complaints from other locations, long waits, rude staff, high turnover, proved the rot was systemic. Nathan's undercover mission had lit a fire, but changing a company's culture was like turning a ship in a storm. He needed to act fast, and he needed allies. He'd spent days visiting other stores, meeting managers face to face. Some, like a young woman in Oakwood, were stellar, training their teams with care. Others, like Ryan Mitchell in Riverside, were Derek's echoes, arrogant, dismissive, skating by on fudged numbers. Nathan's blood boiled at Ryan's smirk during their meeting, his vague promises to tighten up. Megan Harper, Nathan's operations director, had flagged Ryan as Derek's ally, and Nathan suspected he was behind a fake complaint targeting Sophia. A text from an anonymous employee confirmed it. Riverside's a mess. Managers like Derek. 2.0. Nathan launched his first wave of changes. Mandatory leadership training, a feedback app for staff, and a reward system for standout employees. He sent a company-wide email, his tone unyielding. Respect is non-negotiable. Managers who don't meet this standard will be replaced. The message sparked murmurs, but Nathan knew words alone wouldn't fix QuickBite. He needed results. Back at Maple Street, Sophia was implementing the new policies, her quiet confidence growing. Nathan watched her through the drive-through window, directing a lunch rush with calm precision. Lucas Bennett, the teen employee, hustled beside her, his fear replaced by purpose. But trouble brewed. Someone had tampered with a delivery order, leaving the store short on fries. Sophia handled it, but Nathan saw the strain in her eyes. Ryan's shadow loomed, and Nathan's resolve hardened. He built QuickBite from nothing. He wouldn't let it crumble. That night, his sister, Emily, called, her voice sharp. "You're obsessed, Nathan. You can't fix every store yourself." Her words stung, echoing his own doubts. He stared at an old QuickBite apron on his wall, a relic from his cashier days. Emily was right. He couldn't be everywhere, but he could empower people like Sophia. As he hung up, a new review popped up. Maple Street's turning around. "Keep it up." Nathan smiled, a flicker of hope cutting through the storm. The fight was on, and he wasn't backing down. The Maple Street QuickBite was a battlefield on Saturday night. The drive-through line snaking around the building, the dining area packed with families and teens. Sofia Alvarez stood at the counter, her manager's badge glinting under the fluorescence, her voice steady as she called orders. 2 weeks into her interim role, she'd earned nods from customers and cautious respect from most staff. But the pressure was relentless, and tonight would test her like never before. Nathan's new policies, training, fair schedules were taking root, but Derek's loyalists, led by Mike, pushed back, and Sophia felt the weight of every skeptical glance. Trouble hit during the peak rush. A delivery truck arrived with half the expected burgers, the invoice marked "canceled" by an unknown sender. Sophia's heart sank. Ryan Mitchell's handiwork, she was sure. Customers grumbled, and Mike smirked from the fry station, deliberately slowing his pace. Then, a group of teens complained about cold food, their voices loud enough to draw stares. Sophia's hands trembled, but she remembered Nathan's words. "Don't lose who you are." She rallied the team, her tone firm but kind. "We're better." Then this, she said, gathering Lucas and others. Lucas, grab extra patties from the freezer. Mia, speed up the grill. We'll cop the team's order and make it right. Lucas nodded eagerly, and Mia, a quiet new hire, sprang into action. Sophia approached the teens, offering free shakes with their roommate food. Sorry for the wait, she said, smiling. We've got you. The teens softened, one posting a quick Maple QuickBites cool now on social media. The night turned around, customers leaving with smiles, tips piling up. Lucas pulled Sophia aside, his eyes bright. I almost quit last month. He admitted. Derek made me feel like nothing. You're why I stayed. Sophia's throat tightened, her confidence surging. But as she locked the freezer, her phone buzzed a text from her sister. Mom's fever's back. Hospital's expensive. The words hit like a punch. Sophia was managing the store, but her mother's illness loomed, a reminder of why she fought. So hard that she found Nathan's training manual on her desk, a sticky note attached. You're doing great. Keep going, and see. Sophia clutched it, her resolve stealing. She'd prove she could handle this, for her mom, for Lucas, for herself. But as she closed the store, she caught Mike on his phone, muttering about Ryan fixing things. Sophia's jaw clenched. The sabotage wasn't over, and she needed to stay sharp. Nathan stood in the Riverside QuickBite's office, the air thick with tension. Ryan Mitchell, the manager, leaned back in his chair, his smirk barely hiding his unease. Nathan's audit of the store had uncovered shoddy service, faked sales, reports, and a doctored feedback form blaming Sophia for Maple Street's decline. The evidence was clear. Ryan was sabotaging Nathan's reforms, egged on by Derek's ousting. Nathan's suit felt like armor as he faced Ryan, his voice low and unyielding. You've been playing games, Ryan. Fake complaints, messed up deliveries. It stops now. Ryan's smirk faltered, but he shrugged. I don't know what you're talking about. Maple Street's a mess. That's all. Sophia's in over her head. Nathan slid a printed email across the desk proof Ryan had altered. Sophia's delivery order. This ends or you're out. You're on probation, with mandatory coaching. Step up or step out. Ryan's face reddened, but he nodded, his defiance crumbling under Nathan's stare. As Ryan left, Nathan's phone buzzed Megan Harper, his operations director. I missed Ryan's games, she admitted. I trusted managers too much. Let me help fix this. Start with audits, Nathan said. Every store, top to bottom. We're rooting out the rot. Megan agreed, her voice resolute. Nathan hung up, his eyes catching an old photo on his phone. Him as a cashier, grinning despite the grind. That kid had believed in fairness, and Nathan was fighting for him now. He visited Maple Street, finding Sophia closing up, her managers. Bad shining. The store was bustling, customers praising the service. You're turning it around, Nathan said, handing her a list of new hires to train. Sophia smiled, but her eyes were tired. It's hard, she admitted. Mike's still trouble, and my mom's not great. But I'm not quitting. Nathan nodded, respect swelling. You're stronger than you know. As he left, a new review popped up from the single mother whose complaint had sparked his mission. Maple Street's like family now. Thank you. Nathan's heart lifted, but Ryan's probation and Mike's dissent lingered like storm clouds. The reforms were working, but the battle was far from won. Nathan drove into the night, ready to face the next fight. The conference room at Carter's QuickBite's training center buzzed with anticipation. The air charged as managers from all 10 stores filled the seats. Nathan Carter stood at the podium, his suit crisp, his gaze steady, but his heart raced with the weight of the moment. 3 months after his undercover mission, the leadership summit was his chance to reset the company's culture, to turn the storm he'd uncovered into a force for good. Behind him, a screen blazed 2 words: Reset Culture. The room held eager faces, guarded ones, and a few like Ryan Mitchell's that avoided his eyes. This was make or break, and Nathan was ready. He gripped the podium, his voice calm but firm. Thank you for being here. When I started QuickBite, I wanted a place where everyone, customers, staff, felt valued. Somewhere along the way, we lost that. I lost that. The room went silent, managers leaning forward. 3 months ago, I went undercover at Maple Street. I saw toxic leadership, disrespected employees, frustrated customers. It wasn't one store, it was a symptom of what we become. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Nathan clicked the remote, and the screen shifted to a live feed from Maple Street. Sofia Alvarez, now interim manager, led a bustling shift. Customers smiling, staff moving with purpose. This, Nathan said, is what we can be. He outlined the reforms: anonymous feedback apps, mandatory training, employee rewards, satisfaction surveys up 30%. These aren't just numbers, he said. They're trust, rebuilt step by step. Ryan Mitchell, on probation after a sabotage, sat in the back, his posture less defiant, his coaching sessions showing results. Other managers nodded, some inspired, others wary. Nathan's eyes found Sophia, seated beside Megan Harper, her blazer a far cry from her old cashier's polo. She'd agreed to speak, despite her nerves, and Nathan knew her story would seal the summit's impact. This isn't the finish line, he said, his voice rising. It's the starting point. You're the leaders who'll make it real, or you won't be here. A manager raised a hand, her voice tentative. This feels different, real. I'm in. Others murmured agreement, and Nathan's chest swelled with cautious hope. The storm hadn't passed, but the winds were shifting. He nodded to Sophia, her cue approaching. The summit was just beginning, and the future of QuickBite hung in the balance. Sofia Alvarez stood at the podium, her hands trembling as she gripped the microphone. The sea of managers' faces blurring under the bright lights. Her blazer felt foreign, her manager's badge heavy with responsibility. 3 months ago, she'd been invisible, a cashier enduring Derek Lawson's abuse to support her sick mother. Now, she was here, chosen by Nathan Carter to share her story at the Leadership Summit. Her heart pounded, but Lucas Bennett's encouraging nod from the audience steadied her. She took a breath, her voice soft but growing stronger. Hi, everyone. Sophia began, her eyes flicking to Nathan, who smiled from the sidelines. I used to be a cashier at Maple Street. For years, I felt invisible. I worked hard, but my manager made me feel like I didn't belong. He'd yell, call me useless. In front of everyone. Managers shifted, some uncomfortable, others riveted. I stayed for my mom, she's sick, and this job keeps us going. But I almost gave up. Her voice cracked, and she paused, clutching the podium. Then someone saw me. Someone listened. She glanced at Nathan, gratitude in her eyes. Mr. Carter gave me a chance to lead. Now, I manage Maple Street, and I'm here to tell you the changes we're making are real. My team feels it. Our customers feel it. I hope you'll make your stores feel it too. The room erupted in applause. Managers standing, their claps echoing. Sophia's eyes glistened, but she smiled, dedicating her speech to her mother, whose fever had finally broken. Nathan stepped up, his voice warm. Sophia's our future. Effective today, she's permanent manager of Maple Street. More cheers followed, and Sophia wiped a tear, overwhelmed. Nathan continued, announcing new initiatives. Mental health support, scholarships for employees like Lucas. A manager from Oakwood shared a similar story, her store thriving under fair leadership, proving the reform's ripple effect. Ryan Mitchell approached Nathan after, his voice low. I was wrong to fight you, he said. The coaching, it's changing me. Thanks for the chance. Nathan nodded, seeing sincerity in Ryan's eyes. As the summit closed, Sophia frowned. Nathan, her confidence radiant. I didn't think I could do that, she said. But I meant every word. Nathan smiled. You're why we're here, Sophia. The applause still rang in his ears, a promise of change taking root. But he knew the work wasn't done. Some managers would falter, and the culture needed constant care. For now, though, Sophia's voice had lit a spark, and Nathan was ready to fan it into a flame. 6 months later, Carter's QuickBite was unrecognizable. Turnover had plummeted, online reviews glowed with praise, and employee surveys showed pride in the workplace. Nathan Carter stood outside the Maple Street store, the neon sign gleaming against the dusk. Inside, Sophia Alvarez trained Lucas Bennett as a shift leader, her laughter mixing with the hum of a busy shift. Customers lingered, chatting like family, a far cry from the toxic chaos Nathan had uncovered. He'd rebuilt his dream, not alone, but with people like Sophia, who'd turned one store into a beacon. Nathan visited every store monthly, no longer a distant CEO but a leader who listened. The feedback app buzzed with ideas, better break rooms, eco-friendly packaging, many from Sophia's team. Training programs had weeded out weak managers, and Ryan Mitchell, fully reformed, now mentored others. Nathan's reforms fair schedules. Rewards, mental health support had slashed complaints, profits climbing as loyalty grew. But it wasn't the numbers that warmed Nathan's heart. It was the people. He drove to his old high school that week, donating to a scholarship in his mother's name, honoring the woman who'd worked double shifts to raise him. The principal thanked him, and Nathan smiled, thinking of Sophia's mother, now recovering, cheering her daughter's success. Back at Maple Street, Sophia showed him a framed photo on the wall. The team, grinning, with a caption, Maple Street Family. Lucas came up with it, she said, pride in her voice. Nathan met Sophia for coffee, discussing her future. You're not just managing a store, he said. You're building a legacy. I'm expanding QuickBite new locations, same principles. I want you as a regional trainer, maybe more. Sophia's eyes widened, but she nodded. I'm in, but I'm staying here a bit longer. This place, it's home. As Nathan left, his phone pinged a feedback message. Thank you for caring. Maple Street feels like family now. He stood under the neon sign, the words sinking in. He'd started as a cashier, dreaming of a place where everyone mattered. Now, with Sophia, Lucas, and countless others, he'd made it real. The stars above. Springfield shone brighter, each a step in his journey. QuickBite wasn't just a chain anymore. It was a promise, a legacy of respect and resilience, and Nathan would guard it fiercely. Carter's QuickBite is a powerful ode to human dignity, resilience, and the transformative power of empathy. Nathan's journey from a detached CEO to a hands-on leader underscores the importance of seeing people, not just profits, as the heart of any organization. Sophia's rise from an invisible cashier to a confident manager celebrates the potential within every individual when given a chance. The story highlights the ripple effect of fairness, showing how one person's courage, Nathan's undercover mission, Sophia's leadership, can dismantle a toxic culture and rebuild trust. The inclusion of Lucas, Ryan, and even the single mothers' voice emphasizes community and collective growth, reflecting a humanistic belief that everyone deserves respect and opportunity. The narrative's focus on personal stakes, Sophia's sick mother, Nathan's roots grounds its corporate reform in deeply human motivations, making it universally relatable. The story teaches that true leadership requires listening and accountability. Nathan's willingness to confront his own disconnect and act decisively inspires us to challenge complacency in our own spheres. Sophia's perseverance under adversity shows that resilience, paired with opportunity, can spark profound change. The story also underscores the value of second chances. Ryan's redemption and Sophia's offer to her team reflect a balance of justice and compassion, urging us to foster growth while holding firm standards. Finally, it reminds us that small actions, Nathan's undercover visit, Sophia's kindness to customers, can ignite systemic transformation, encouraging us to act with purpose in our own lives. Inspired by Nathan and Sophia's fight for fairness? Dive into more stories of courage and change with Legacy Stories. Subscribe now for tales of triumph and transformation that'll keep you hooked. Like this story, share your thoughts below. Where are you watching from, and what moved you most? About QuickBite's turnaround? Do you believe in second chances or strict accountability? Join our community and let's explore stories that matter. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for the next chapter.